What military abbreviation led to your biggest misunderstanding? I learned the hard way that POG doesn't mean what I thought it meant during my first week at Fort Campbell. I was fresh out of basic training assigned to a logistics unit, pretty nervous about fitting in with the experienced soldiers. During my first formation, I heard guys talking about POGs everywhere. The sergeant mentioned POG duties. Other soldiers joked about POG life. Everyone seemed to know what it meant except me. Too embarrassed to ask directly, I did what any smart soldier would do. Googled it. First result that came up, POG meant player of the game, like in sports. Made perfect sense to me. These guys were talking about who performed best during training exercises. I figured it was some kind of recognition system. Maybe they gave out POG awards for outstanding work. Sounded motivating. I wanted to earn POG status as quickly as possible. Monday morning, our squad leader, Staff Sergeant Blake, assigns daily tasks. I volunteered for everything. Extra duty cleaning weapons, inventory work in the supply room, even volunteered to scrub the latrine. Blake looked confused, but let me take on the extra work. By lunch, I was exhausted but proud. Figured I was well on my way to earning POG recognition. Tuesday, same thing. Raised my hand for every unpleasant job, organizing the tool shed, washing vehicles in the rain, moving heavy equipment across the base. Other soldiers started looking at me funny, whispering among themselves, but I kept pushing harder. Wednesday, I approached Blake directly. Sergeant, I've been working really hard this week. Do you think I'm POG material yet? His face went completely blank. He stared at me for a solid 10 seconds. What did you just say? I repeated my question, confused by his reaction. Do you think I could earn POG status? Maybe get recognized at the next formation? That's when Blake lost it. Started laughing so hard he couldn't breathe. Called over the other squad leaders. You guys need to hear this. Tell them what you just asked me. I repeated my question to the group. They all erupted in laughter. One guy actually fell over. Another was wiping tears from his eyes. I stood there completely confused. Blake finally composed himself enough to explain. Kid, POG doesn't mean player of the game. It means person other than grunt. You've been begging me all week to give you POG duties. My stomach dropped. POG was military slang for non-infantry soldiers, support personnel, desk jobs. Everything I'd been volunteering for was considered POG work by the infantry guys. I'd basically been advertising myself as someone who wanted the easiest, safest assignments possible. The opposite of what I was trying to accomplish. Blake continued laughing. So this whole week you thought POG was some kind of award, and you wanted to earn it by doing extra work? The irony was killing him. Here I was, trying to prove myself as a tough, dedicated soldier. Instead, I'd been enthusiastically requesting what everyone considered the least challenging duties. Word spread fast. By dinner, half the company knew about the POG incident. Guys would walk by making comments. Hey, there's our wannabe POG, still working toward that player of the game status? The embarrassment was crushing. I'd made myself look like either an idiot or someone desperate to avoid real work. Neither was the impression I wanted to make. But Blake was actually impressed by my work ethic. Even if I'd misunderstood the terminology, I'd shown initiative and willingness to do unpleasant jobs without complaining. Thursday morning formation, he called me out in front of everyone. Williams here has been volunteering for every POG duty we've got, thinks it stands for player of the game. The whole company cracked up again, but then Blake's tone shifted. However, he's also shown more motivation and work ethic than some soldiers I've had for years. He pulled out a certificate he'd made on his computer, presented me with an official POG award, complete with a fake seal and everything. It read, Outstanding Player of the Game. From that day forward, POG became my unofficial nickname, but instead of being an insult, it became a badge of honor. I'd earned it through hard work, even if based on a ridiculous misunderstanding. 5 years later, I made sergeant myself. Still have that fake certificate hanging in my office. New soldiers always ask about it, which gives me a chance to explain military abbreviations properly. Last month, Blake retired after 20 years of service. At his farewell ceremony, he mentioned my POG story in his speech, said it taught him that motivation matters more than vocabulary. The certificate now sits in a frame next to my real military awards. Blake signed it before he left, to the only soldier who ever asked for POG duties and actually earned them.